The eldest daughter of the cowboys was once fallen and destitute, and it was I who earned money to provide for her. Someone confessed their love to me. She not only refused to offer her blessing but used every possible scheme, fearing I would choose that person as my wife. Later, she returned to the cowboys, reclaimed her power, and turned her back to betray me. She cast me aside, severely injured at the foot of a mountain, while she frantically helped her fiancé who had only a minor sprained ankle. She proved her loyalty to him, looking at me with cold indifference. Later, I fell ill and forgot all those things, remembering only the Doc of the past. She cried and told me she was indeed that Doc. I didn't believe her, because my Doc had no fiancé, she only had me. I appeared at the gathering of the elite families. Everyone around me looked at me with judgmental eyes, scanning me from head to toe. This seems to be the one who saved Dak Prescott's life when she was harmed and ended up lost in Aspen. Is that him? Father dead, mother passed away early, and now he repays kindness with resentment, chasing her all the way to Washington, D.C. without looking at his own status. Truly a person from the countryside. Hasn't seen the world, wearing faded pants to a party like this. How could he ever compare to Tom Brady? Their whispers varied in volume, but many mocking words reached my ears. I raised my head to look directly at Tom, a smile touching his lips. It was clear he was very satisfied with everything I was enduring at this moment. He tilted his head slightly, looking down at me from above, as if a single glance was an act of charity. Wasn't it charity? He was the noble, wealthy young master, the fiancé of Dak Prescott, and I was an orphan, without money, without education, without family status. I didn't see Dak Prescott in the hall, so I knew this was just a game played by Tom. Therefore, I prepared to leave. The henchman beside him immediately stepped forward. I struggled, but he held my arms tight. Tom casually picked up a bottle of red wine and smashed it against my head. The glass shattered, and wine flowed from the top of my head down. A polite, measured smile remained on his face. A lowly life like yours actually wants to marry Doc, trying to defy fate and join the elite. Are you insane? I'll help you sober up. Know your place. 3 days ago, Tom told me that Dak Prescott would return to the country today to participate in their Warriors banquet. He told me if I wanted to enter, I had to wear swim trunks. I changed into them because I didn't want to wait anymore. I wanted to meet her one last time to clear everything up. It has been half a year since I came from my hometown to the capital. If she couldn't keep her original promise to marry me, then she shouldn't stop me from leaving. I lowered my eyes, clenching my fists. Tom used the remaining jagged neck of the bottle to lift my chin. Looking at the scar on my face, a scar stretching from the corner of my eye to my earlobe, he said with a look of mock pity, "Patrick Mahomes, look at this little face, what a shame. Injured and then sentenced to a month of detention. It breaks my heart to hear it. Don't blame Doc. After all, you were only nearly blinded and disfigured, while I had a sprained ankle." In her heart, surely my injury needed treatment sooner. For the past year, my head has often throbbed for no clear reason. Now, being struck by him, the pain felt like it was going to explode. The words he said took me a long time to process. It seems that happened shortly after I arrived in the capital. My memory is getting worse and worse, in just half a year. I've forgotten many things. I only remember that was the first time I escaped from Dak Prescott's Beverly Hills villa. On the road, I happened to meet Tom. At that time, I didn't know his identity. He took advantage of my guard being down and pushed me down the mountainside. Afterward, he pretended to be panicked and rolled down after me, creating a scene where we fell together and were trapped in the forest. Dak Prescott came running. She didn't hesitate for a second to carry the sprained Tom away, leaving me behind with a face covered in blood. If it weren't for Mama Kelsey arriving in time to care for me, I would have become a one-eyed dragon long ago. But regarding the punishment Tom mentioned, I don't remember it. I only wondered why he intentionally injured me, yet I was the one sent to jail. Just as I was lost in thought, a strong force pushed me into the nearby swimming pool. I don't know how to swim. I could only thrash wildly on the surface, struggling for air, before sinking beneath the water. When I woke up, I was lying in the Beverly Hills villa. I knew this would be the outcome, so even though I knew it might be a deadly feast, I still went there to find Dak Prescott. She wouldn't let go. The time I spent outside this villa was, at most, no more than 3 hours. I met Dak Prescott 5 years ago. My mother died during a difficult birth. My father was deaf and mute, and also passed away from illness when I was in high school, leaving behind only an old house and a few dollars in savings. I used that money to get through high school. After graduation, I started working. By day, I worked a regular job. At night, I was a street vendor. Aspen isn't large, but it's an ancient town nestled between mountains and a river. That day, as I was packing up my stall to head home, I saw Dak Prescott lying at the foot of the mountain next to my house. Her face was grimy and blackened, her body covered in scratches, looking as if she had just rolled down the slope, like a scattered chicken, as the books often describe. I looked a few times, preparing to leave, but right then, she grabbed my ankle. Her lips moved, and though her voice was too low to hear, I could see the words, "Save me," in her eyes. For some reason, I, who never liked meddling in others' business, intervened for the first time. After cleaning her face, I was stunned to realize I had picked up a great beauty. From then on, my lonely house had sound, and I had a companion. Originally, I planned to wait for her to wake up and send her home. But she looked at me with a bewildered expression, saying she remembered nothing at all. Then, she opened her peach blossom eyes to look at me, saying nothing, yet making my face flush and my ears burn. The words to tell her to leave stuck in my throat, unsaid. I saw a jade pendant around her neck engraved with the word, Heen. So I called her Doc. Doc's injuries were far more severe than I had first realized. 2 broken ribs and a fractured leg. I didn't have much money, but I still took the savings I had set aside for my own college tuition to go to the most expensive clinic in town and invite a doctor. Doc was deeply grateful to me for that, but that night, as I watched my savings jar empty by half, I still felt a bit sad. I thought, perhaps, I had committed the error that all men in the world fall for, letting beauty spark greed in the heart. She was the most beautiful person I had ever seen, even more stunning than the stars on the neighbor's TV. She caught me staring at her openly. I spent money to get this view. When I blushed and said this bluntly, she laughed, used her hand to tilt my chin, and blew a kiss. All my hardened defenses collapsed instantly. And then I ran away. Behind me, the sound of her loud laughter followed. Her injuries were too heavy for her to get out of bed. So, daily personal hygiene was all assisted by me. Before my father passed, he was cared for entirely by my hands, so I considered myself experienced. Despite the differences between men and women, special circumstances require special treatment, so I was fine. Conversely, even she felt embarrassed, but compared to wetting the bed, she could only compromise. Every morning, she would look at me longingly as I left. In the evening, as soon as I opened the door, I would meet her sparkling peach blossom eyes. Her illness finally improved significantly once she had drained all my money, allowing her to get out of bed and walk slowly. After that, she turned into my little shadow, following me wherever I went. In her world of amnesia, I seemed to be her entire world. Those were the rare happy days of my life. The shop owner next door, Travis Kelsey, for some reason took an interest in me and even followed me to the ground floor of my house to confess publicly. He said his last name was Kelsey, mine was Mahomes, and after we married and had a son, we would name him Patrick Levon Mahomes, implying that in the future, he would be the chairman of some football team. Doc, who always cared about her image, ran downstairs and gave Travis Kelsey a piece of her mind. After that, every time they met, she would find any way to make things difficult for Travis. She grabbed my collar, her eyes red, and asked, "Patrick, do you choose him or me as your wife?" From then on, Doc became my Doc. Mama Kelsey walked in, seeing me sitting by the bed looking out at the sea of tulips through the window, and said with a smile, "The young lady purposely had them flown in from the Netherlands. She said you liked them. If you hadn't gone out this morning, you would have seen them by noon. But it's not too late to look now." I frowned. I like tulips? How come I don't remember? Mama Kelsey was stunned and sighed softly. If you don't want to remember, then don't remember anymore. Just remember the things you want to remember. Mama Kelsey seemed to think I said that out of anger. But the truth was, I really Didn't remember. However, the tulips in the garden were indeed very beautiful. I got out of bed, wanting to get closer, but as soon as I stood up, I staggered. A wave of uncomfortable nausea hit me. Mama Kelsey hurriedly helped me sit down and took out her phone to call the doctor. I raised my hand to stop her. I'm fine, it's probably just the heat. A bit of sunstroke. Plus my head was hit and I fell into the water. Everything piling up at once. So the reaction is quite strong. A bit of sleep and I'll be fine. Seeing this, Mama Kelsey didn't persist. As soon as I lay down, I felt sleepiness wash over me, and my head tilted as I drifted off. In my dream was the scene of her leaving. 2 years before Doc left, every month she would disappear for a few days. The closer it got to her departure, the longer she would be gone. 10 days, 20 days, even. Though she never said it, I guessed that her memory had returned. The day she left, she hugged me so tightly. How tight? Tight enough that I almost suffocated. A tightness born of the fear of losing me. This abnormality made me even more anxious. Is it impossible not to go? She buried her head in the crook of my shoulder. My mother's death cannot just be let go. Besides, those things originally belonged to me. I have to take them back. Patrick, stay home and wait for me to come and get you. When she looked up to face me, her eyes were full of anticipation. After everything is successful, we will get married. We will have the wedding of the century, so that everyone can witness our love. I didn't care about a so-called wedding of the century. I only hoped we both could be safe. But I knew my Doc wasn't a house dog in a mountain crevice. She was a soaring phoenix. So, I suppressed the unease in my heart and smiled, saying, okay. She was gone for 2 years. Initially, we stayed in contact via phone, but later even her number was disconnected. Just as I thought she had forgotten me, Mama Kelsey appeared with several black-clad bodyguards, took me to the Beverly Hills villa, and I have lived there until now. Waking up, it was already the next day. I opened my eyes to see a woman sitting by my bed. Men and women should keep their distance. I had to keep my body pure for my Doc. So, I sat up in a panic. My chest surged with another wave of nausea. I crawled to the edge of the bed and dry heaved. The woman called for a doctor in a panic. Several people entered from outside. I saw Mama Kelsey and finally felt at ease. But when that woman tried to get close to me, I immediately looked at her with suspicion, dry heaving while trying to get closer to Mama Kelsey. Mama Kelsey realized something and hurriedly comforted me. Young Master Patrick, this is the young lady. The woman knitted her brows tightly, but still forced a smile, speaking patiently in a gentle voice. Patrick, it's me, Doc. Did you have a bad dream? Hearing this, I observed her carefully for a moment, then pursed my lips. I remember you. You are Dak Prescott. Not Doc. My Doc? How could I not recognize her? Didn't you say you weren't coming back until next month? Why come back today all of a sudden? If I'd known, I wouldn't have gone out yesterday. I wouldn't have been bullied by your fiancé. If I hadn't been beaten to death, I nearly drowned. I intentionally complained with a few offhand remarks, wanting her to know how much trouble she had caused me. Now she wanted to take advantage of my poor memory to trick me. It was too much. How could I forget my Doc? She only has me. If I forgot her, she'd get red-eyed and make a scene with me again. She's clearly a tough person on the outside. The speed at which she flirted with me was like a rocket. And yet, at the slightest thing, she gets red-eyed in front of me. Actually, I knew it was because she discovered this move could control me. Dak Prescott somehow learned this move too. Right now her eyes were red, silently watching me, but in my heart, there wasn't the slightest stir. In fact, I wanted to tell Mama Kelsey and the kitchen later that I wanted stewed chicken for lunch. Finally, Dak Prescott said nothing and had the doctor check my health first. After the basic exam, he asked about my specific symptoms of discomfort lately. I'm afraid of needles and taking medicine. So naturally, I was evasive. Although Mama Kelsey takes care of me, she can't be by my side every second. After listening, the doctor diagnosed that I might have a mild concussion combined with heatstroke. He told me to drink more mung bean water, plum juice, and to rest well. I nodded hurriedly, expressing with a very serious attitude that I would definitely drink it morning and night. Dak Prescott looked at me worriedly, then followed the doctor outside to talk. After dry heaving, the dizziness gradually vanished. I woke up, changed clothes, and went downstairs for breakfast. I happened to meet Dak Prescott arriving at the dining room. Her gaze was very complex, and it made me feel very uncomfortable. It wasn't just being watched that was uncomfortable, but being looked at with eyes so full of affection that I felt guilty, as if I were a heartless man who had betrayed her. But she and I have only known each other for a few months. Where would all this emotional trouble come from? I pushed her out of my mind and began to eat heartily. She suddenly spoke. Patrick, I am Doc, look at me. Look closely, I am exactly like her. How could I not be? She spoke with increasing agitation, pulling her chair closer to me. My body leaned back, trying to widen the distance, but I was pressed back into my seat by her bodyguard's hands on my shoulders. I looked at her increasingly frantic expression and felt a bit scared. I suddenly thought of those obsessive love stories. I swallowed nervously. Unfortunately, with two burly men behind me, I couldn't even retreat. She saw my expression and realized she had scared me. She blinked, waiting until her face softened. She said softly, Patrick, look at me. I evaluated her seriously for a moment, then sobbed. You two might look alike, but you really are not, Doc. I don't want to lie. Can you please stop forcing me? After saying this, I burst into tears. Previously, to scare me so I wouldn't run away, she purposely took me to see her training methods. It nearly made me wet my pants, but I don't want to lie. If my doc knew, wouldn't she raise hell? I don't want her to be heartbroken, but I was afraid Dak Prescott would use those methods on me. To my surprise, Dak Prescott's eyes turned red as well. Patrick, what was your doc's last name? I was stunned instantly, but then I cried and shook my head. I don't know. She had amnesia. She didn't even remember herself. Anyway, her name is Doc. You are not her. You are the fiancé of Tom Brady. Why do you keep wanting to be my doc? Dak Prescott only felt her throat tighten, suddenly losing her voice. The words she wanted to say were choked at the tip of her tongue. She closed her eyes, and two clear streams of tears rolled down from the corners of her eyes. After crying, Dak Prescott finally stopped forcing me. She told me to eat my food well, then turned and left the villa. Actually, she didn't live here. She only came once a month. After a few quiet days, I was sitting in the rocking chair in the bedroom admiring the tulips. The door was suddenly burst open. I turned my head to look and found it was Tom Brady. Mama Kelsey couldn't stop him, so she had to stand in front of me, frowning as she said, "Young Master Tom, you are an educated man, barging into someone else's house like this. It's not a very good look." Tom glared at Mama Kelsey. "Don't think, just because you served my late mother-in-law, that you can act high and mighty in front of me. Wait until Doc and I get married. This villa will be mine if I want it. What's inappropriate about me coming to my own territory?" Having said that, he looked at me, gritted his teeth, and said, "You mutt, I knew you wouldn't stay in your place. What did you say to Doc? Why is she attacking my family? If you don't want to get her killed, then tell her to stop immediately." I didn't understand what he was talking about, so I didn't speak. Tom saw this. His anger flared even more, and he reached out to rush at me. "Tom, did I not tell you? You can do whatever you want. Just don't come here and act like a fool." Dak Prescott walked in. The man in black behind her moved quickly, tightening his grip on Tom's throat. The terrifying thing about her was these men in black who existed like corpses. I saw that the whites of Tom's eyes were filled with bloodshot veins, and I subconsciously touched my own neck. Suddenly, I also felt it hard to breathe. Seeing him only exhaling, I hesitated whether I should say a few words to help. It wasn't that I wanted to meddle, but because I knew these people would never turn themselves in. But I couldn't report them. If one day this were exposed, I could be charged with accessory. Thinking of that month spent in jail, I absolutely did not want to go back. While I was hesitating, Jerry Jones, who always followed her, ran in. I breathed a sigh of relief. He looked worriedly at Dak Prescott. "Young lady, you must not act impulsively. A little lack of patience will spoil a great plan." Dak Prescott at this moment looked like she wanted to kill someone with her bloodshot eyes, since he took my words as a passing breeze. Then, "Don't blame me." Jerry Jones glanced at me, trembling with fear, and immediately had an idea. "Mistress, acting like this has already frightened Patrick. Do you want him to be afraid of you?" Dak Prescott tilted her eyes slightly toward me. I immediately shifted my gaze, not daring to face her, fearing that those men in black would, with just one look from her, tighten their grip on my neck. In the next second, Dak Prescott raised her hand. The man in black immediately loosened his grip. Tom collapsed to the ground. After this incident, Dak Prescott moved into the villa to live. She seemed determined to erase my fear of her. Even when at home, she always had to keep me by her side. Quite a lot of work was moved here. I used her computer in the study to play Candy Crush, while she had meetings right beside me. It must be said, seeing her normal side so often, my fear of her had indeed dissipated a little. Waiting for everyone to leave, Dak Prescott spoke helplessly. "Patrick, I would hurt anyone, but I would never hurt you. Please don't be afraid of me. Okay? A wise man submits to fate. Don't think that because I have little schooling, I haven't learned that saying." I nodded vigorously. It was just that my body subconsciously leaned toward the exit. That night, while I was fast asleep, I suddenly felt the urge to go. Just as I opened my eyes, I saw Dak Prescott sitting by the bed, silently watching me. I had gone from being terrified in the beginning to being used to it now. I didn't know what kind of hobby she had, loving to watch people sleep so much. I rubbed my sleepy eyes and let out a yawn. "You don't sleep at night, and you wake up so early during the day. Why don't you feel sleepy at all?" Dak Prescott's eyes lit up. "Are you concerned about me? I'm not a player, so naturally I didn't want her to misunderstand, so I explained. I'm purely just curious." Her eyes darkened again. "I can't sleep lately." Dak Prescott's complexion has indeed been very haggard. Even when she wasn't at the meeting table in the study, I could feel that tense atmosphere. She was as if in a hurry to be reborn, rushing the progress of every task. "But if you can't sleep, don't let it affect me," I complained inwardly. Then touched my nose, got out of bed, and went to the bathroom. The moment my feet touched the floor, the world went dark. Luckily, I was used to it. I suppressed the urge to vomit and intentionally slowed down. My vision quickly cleared. Dak Prescott didn't notice anything unusual. When I returned, she was standing by the window looking at the tulips. "Do you remember the first tulip you gave Doc?" I thought for a while and shook my head. Lately, my memory has gotten even worse. Come to think of it, it's quite a miracle that the two of them look exactly alike. If I didn't see her every day, I wouldn't even be able to remember what Doc looked like. Thinking about losing contact with Doc, all my strength seemed to be drained away. I slumped down, curling up at the head of the bed. I didn't know if her work was going smoothly, or when she would be able to come and get me. I looked imploringly at Dak Prescott. "Miss Del Toro, can you please let me go back to Aspen? Otherwise, when she returns, she won't be able to find me." Dak Prescott sat down beside me, a flicker of pain in her eyes. Then, she spoke with a calm expression. "Patrick, Doc said for you to wait for her here. She wouldn't be at ease with you being there alone, so she sent someone to bring you here." I was astonished. "You're in contact with her?" Seeing her nod, the heavy stone in my heart finally dropped. I curled my lips into a smile. "That's good then. As long as she's safe, I can wait as long as it takes." Half a year before Doc left, even when we were back in Aspen, she was often busy until midnight. In my half-awake state, I would often hear her on the phone with a muffled voice. Putting all the pieces together, I could guess the gist of it. Doc's birth mother passed away early, and her stepmother had planned to hunt her down so her own son could take the throne, even though I didn't know her specific family background. Looking at the people who followed her later, their conduct was absolutely not that of ordinary workers. I partially guessed that the Del Toro family was not an ordinary wealthy family. The larger and more prosperous the clan, the higher the difficulty of reclaiming power. The opponent, for the sake of the heir status, had ruthlessly tried to poison her. Once they knew her whereabouts, she might suddenly lose her life one day. To protect herself, she had to fight back. Since I couldn't help, at least I shouldn't cause trouble. I'd protect myself and wait for her to come get me. Dak Prescott's eyes flickered slightly. What if she did something wrong to you? Would you still keep waiting? Without thinking, I retorted, that's impossible. She wouldn't have the heart to hurt me. How could she do anything wrong to me? You don't understand our relationship. It's because you are unfaithful yourself that you think everyone else is like that. I didn't take her words to heart. I just thought of the way the people coming for meetings every day looked at me. I was utterly helpless. They were just short of carving the words "pretty face" and "troublemaker" on my forehead, as if her breaking the engagement and causing corporate instability was my fault. I gave her a disdainful look. Tom Brady might have bullied me, but from his perspective, even his own fiancée wanted to betray him. Any man would go crazy. I know corporate marriages are mostly for interest, without affection, but once you have chosen to be engaged to him, wanting to profit from this marriage, then you shouldn't mess around and make him feel so insecure. A transaction must be equal. Like me and Doc, sincerity for sincerity. Settle your own romantic troubles between yourselves. Don't drag us innocent people into it. Dak Prescott's face suddenly turned pale. The look she gave me was filled with confusion and pain. It took a long time before she said, Patrick, wait for me a little longer. Only half a month more and everything can end. Even though I didn't understand her, I could still feel the lingering sadness surrounding her. I used to think she was very heartless, but after living together recently, I felt she wasn't quite what I thought. Then more time passed. I felt it increasingly difficult to keep my balance when walking, and I often couldn't see clearly or hear what others were saying. The instances of nausea and dry heaving increased. I guessed it might be the aftereffects of being hit by the wine bottle, a concussion or something similar. So, I decided to start resting properly. I often went to sleep early and woke up late. I mostly stayed in bed if possible, not touching the ground. Fortunately, Dak Prescott has been so busy lately. She barely has time to rest. Even when at home, she was busy from 8 a.m. to 10 p.m., until we were at home with nothing to do, using sleep to kill time. Dak Prescott suddenly said she would hold a birthday party for me next week. I checked the calendar. It was indeed that day, but I didn't want it to be too ostentatious. She insisted that this birthday party was very important. She even called a special team to do my makeup and hair. The party was held right at the villa. I went with Doc Prescott to the banquet hall. The moment she entered, she became the center of everyone's attention, and with her holding my arm so firmly, I was the center of the center. So many people. I swallowed nervously. She smiled gently to comfort me. Don't be afraid. After today, no one will dare bully you again. Waiting for everyone to leave, Dak Prescott spoke helplessly. Patrick, I would hurt anyone, but I would never hurt you. Please don't be afraid of me. Okay? A wise man submits to fate. Don't think that because I have little schooling, I haven't learned that saying. I nodded vigorously. It was just that my body subconsciously leaned toward the exit. That night, while I was fast asleep, I suddenly felt the urge to go. Just as I opened my eyes, I saw Dak Prescott sitting by the bed, silently watching me. I had gone from being terrified in the beginning to being used to it now. I didn't know what kind of hobby she had, loving to watch people sleep so much. I rubbed my sleepy eyes and let out a yawn. You don't sleep at night, and you wake up so early during the day. Why don't you feel sleepy at all? Dak Prescott's eyes lit up. Are you concerned about me? I'm not a player, so naturally I didn't want her to misunderstand, so I explained, I'm purely just curious. Her eyes darkened again. I can't sleep. Lately, Dak Prescott's complexion has indeed been very haggard. Even when she wasn't at the meeting table in the study, I could feel that tense atmosphere. She was as if in a hurry to be reborn, rushing the progress of every task. But if you can't sleep, don't let it affect me, I complained inwardly. Then touched my nose, got out of bed, and went to the bathroom. The moment my feet touched the floor, the world went dark. Luckily, I was used to it. I suppressed the urge to vomit and intentionally slowed down. My vision quickly cleared. Dak Prescott didn't notice anything unusual. When I returned, she was standing by the window looking at the tulips. Do you remember the first tulip you gave Doc? I thought for a while and shook my head. Lately, my memory has gotten even worse. Come to think of it, it's quite a miracle that the two of them look exactly alike. If I didn't see her every day, I wouldn't even be able to remember what Doc looked like. Thinking about losing contact with Doc, all my strength seemed to be drained away. I slumped down, curling up at the head of the bed. I didn't know if her work was going smoothly, or when she would be able to come and get me. I looked imploringly at Dak Prescott. Miss Del Toro, can you please let me go back to Aspen? Otherwise, when she returns, she won't be able to find me. Dak Prescott sat down beside me, a flicker of pain in her eyes. Then, she spoke with a calm expression. Patrick, Doc said for you to wait for her here. She wouldn't be at ease with you being there alone, so she sent someone to bring you here. I was astonished. You're in contact with her? Seeing her nod, the heavy stone in my heart finally dropped. I curled my lips into a smile. That's good then. As long as she's safe, I can wait as long as it takes. Half a year before Doc left, even when we were back in Aspen, she was often busy until midnight. In my half-awake state, I would often hear her on the phone with a muffled voice, putting all the pieces together. I could guess the gist of it. Doc's birth mother passed away early, and her stepmother had planned to hunt her down so her own son could take the throne. Even though I didn't know her specific family background, looking at the people who followed her later, their conduct was absolutely not that of ordinary workers. I partially guessed that the Del Toro family was not an ordinary wealthy family. The larger and more prosperous the clan, the higher the difficulty of reclaiming power. The opponent, for the sake of the heir status, had ruthlessly tried to poison her. Once they knew her whereabouts, she might suddenly lose her life one day. To protect herself, she had to fight back. Since I couldn't help, at least I shouldn't cause trouble. I'd protect myself and wait for her to come get me. Dak Prescott's eyes flickered slightly. What if she did something wrong to you? Would you still keep waiting? Without thinking, I retorted, that's impossible. She wouldn't have the heart to hurt me. How could she do anything wrong to me? You don't understand our relationship. It's because you are unfaithful yourself that you think everyone else is like that. I didn't take her words to heart. I just thought of the way the people coming for meetings every day looked at me. I was utterly helpless. They were just short of carving the words "pretty face" and "troublemaker" on my forehead, as if her breaking the engagement and causing corporate instability was my fault. I gave her a disdainful look. Tom Brady might have bullied me, but from his perspective, even his own fiancée wanted to betray him. Any man would go crazy. I know corporate marriages are mostly for interest, without affection, but once you have chosen to be engaged to him, wanting to profit from this marriage, then you shouldn't mess around and make him feel so insecure. A transaction must be equal. Like me and Doc, sincerity for sincerity. Settle your own romantic troubles between yourselves. Don't drag us innocent people into it. Dak Prescott's face suddenly turned pale. The look she gave me was filled with confusion and pain. It took a long time before she said, Patrick, wait for me a little longer. Only half a month more and everything can end. Even though I didn't understand her, I could still feel the lingering sadness surrounding her. I used to think she was very heartless, but after living together recently, I felt she wasn't quite what I thought. Then more time passed. I felt it increasingly difficult to keep my balance when walking. and I often couldn't see clearly or hear what others were saying. The instances of nausea and dry heaving increased. I guessed it. Might be the after effects of being hit by the wine bottle, a concussion or something similar. So, I decided to start resting properly. I often went to sleep early and woke up late. I mostly stayed in bed if possible, not touching the ground. Fortunately, Dak Prescott has been so busy lately. She barely has time to rest. Even when at home, she was busy from 8 a.m. to 10 p.m., until we were at home with nothing to do, using sleep to kill time. Dak Prescott suddenly said she would hold a birthday party for me next week. I checked the calendar. It was indeed that day, but I didn't want it to be too ostentatious. She insisted that this birthday party was very important. She even called a special team to do my makeup and hair. The party was held right at the villa. I went with Dak Prescott to the banquet hall. The moment she entered, she became the center of everyone's attention, and with her holding my arm so firmly, I was the center of the center. So many people, I swallowed nervously. She smiled gently to comfort me. Don't be afraid. After today, no one will dare bully you again. Tom Brady was still surrounded by the crowd when he saw Dak Prescott. He actively smiled and stepped forward to speak, but Dak Prescott didn't even spare him a single glance. The scene was momentarily and incredibly awkward. I tilted my head to look at her neck. The terrifying bruises from being strangled before had completely vanished, but her voice had become slightly hoarse, likely due to vocal cord damage. The scene from that day flashed back into my mind. I felt my own neck begin to ache dully again. If my doc ever dared to treat me like that, let alone me taking the initiative to talk to her, it would be useless even if she knelt and begged for my forgiveness. Thinking about it now, why should men make things hard for men? I felt that lately, I had become a bit sentimental. Suddenly, developing a bodhisattva heart, wanting to meddle in others' business. I wondered if this was also an after effect of being hit on the head. I leaned close to Dak Prescott's ear and spoke up for him. The man isn't holding a grudge about you cheating on him. He's willing to humble himself first. Don't be too cruel. I heard you two are getting married in 2 months. If you can't get over this hurdle, how will you treat each other in the future? After hearing my words, she turned and stared intently at me. Then there will be no marriage. Next, she announced the cancellation of her engagement to Tom Brady. The wedding in 2 months would still proceed as planned, but the groom would be me. She spoke as if she didn't know the weight of those words. Saying them so casually, a wave of commotion broke out. Everyone turned their eyes toward me. Everyone knew that Dak Prescott was only able to seize the position of head of the Del Toro family because of her alliance with the young master Tom Brady of the Brady family. To receive support from the Bradys, before Dak Prescott's incident, she was the one raised as the heir by her grandfather, who was then the head of the Del Toro family. After her incident, her half-brother naturally became the sole candidate. Her grandfather fell ill after hearing news of Dak Prescott's disappearance. He passed away in less than half a year. When Dak Prescott returned to the capital, her brother had already sat firmly in the position for several years. She carefully hid her whereabouts, contacted several elite families in the capital, and then sought out Tom, her former childhood friend. Tom had been in love with her since they were children, so he suggested that as long as she agreed to the alliance, he would help her regain power. The old staff who had always followed Dak Prescott were very clear on this relationship of interests. Their eyes looked at me with even less kindness, wishing they could tear me apart. I suddenly remembered the month I was detained because of Tom for intentional injury. Recalling those days that felt as long as a year, I was still a bit afraid. They supported the alliance just as they supported Tom. However, they wanted to deal with me. They would surely only cheer and encourage it. A wave of panic hit me. The feeling of fear spread, making my head begin to spin. I covered my mouth to suppress the urge to vomit, fearing that making a sound would provoke them. Dak Prescott initially chose the alliance with Tom. After all, because she couldn't yet smoothly take the seat of the family head. Furthermore, the Brady family could become her support in the future. It was a win-win situation. At this moment, her interests and mine were in conflict. I didn't dare dream she would protect me anymore. I cast a glance around, hoping to see the person I always remembered in my heart, to give me a bit of strength, but there was nothing. At this moment, the large screen on the stage suddenly lit up. On. It was a cooperation agreement. Everyone was stunned after seeing it clearly. I didn't understand, but I heard that this cooperation was something the Del Toro family had longed for over 10 years. Its significance to the Del Toro group was even greater than the marriage alliance. While Tom was still in shock, several police officers entered from the door. Dak Prescott presented the evidence she had prepared. This is the evidence that Tom Brady intentionally pushed my fiancé Patrick down the mountainside. I, as the victim's family, hope the police will handle this strictly. We absolutely refuse any mediation. Tom suddenly looked toward her, unable to believe it, but the evidence was clear, leaving him no room for denial. The face he should have been proudest of, under the eyes of everyone, shattered completely. I couldn't believe it either. I stared blankly at the cold Dak Prescott. I suddenly remembered when I first arrived in the capital. Tom had visited the villa several times while I was recovering. Every time he came, he provoked and insulted me. Spilling soup and slapping my face were daily occurrences. Initially, I pleaded with her for help, but all I received was this same expression, along with her attitude of standing by and watching. After a few times, I became numb, unable to run, unable to hide, so I resignedly accepted it, until my wounds healed and I was thrown into jail by Tom. After getting out, I no longer saw his shadow in the villa. A series of old events. I suddenly felt blurred. My head suddenly throbbed with pain. Tom struggled as he was dragged out the door. Just before leaving, he turned back unwillingly and shouted at me, "Patrick, I don't know if you're pretending to make her feel pity, or if you really forgot. She is the doc you've been searching for and waiting for. I just want to tell you, your doc could abandon you once for power. And there will be a second time. An orphan with no backing is only fit to be a tool for her to act out her deep affection." The corners of his eyes were tinged with intense resentment. Nearly driven mad, Dak Prescott frantically blocked my vision and gripped my hand tightly. "Patrick, it's not like that. Don't listen to his nonsense. He's intentionally trying to divide us because he can't stand seeing us together." The sharp pain in my head increased. I pulled my hand away and punched my head hard, but I still couldn't resist and fainted. I woke up in the late afternoon. After I opened my eyes, my mind automatically replayed the final scene before I fainted. There were many things I couldn't remember, but I remembered the first day in the Capitol. Mama Kelsey once told me that Doc's full name was Dak Prescott. Doc's mother was in poor health, and Mama Kelsey had raised her, following her into the Del Toro family and then raising Doc. I had never left Aspen until I was brought to the Capitol by Doc. Witnessing the prosperity of the big city, I felt this didn't suit me. There was a nameless fear. She said Beverly Hills was her mother's dowry in the place where she grew up, telling me to stay here with peace of mind. When I discovered I couldn't even go out the main gate, she told me that things weren't settled yet and it would be dangerous for me to go out. I chose to believe her without hesitation, until my disconnected phone received a call from Tom. He cursed at me, calling me the third party between him and Doc Prescott. I argued back loudly, but afterward, I couldn't help but think too much. Looking at the signs since coming to the Capitol, it truly felt like someone who couldn't be seen, hidden away by her like a secret lover. I wanted to have a serious talk with her, but she always spoke in circles. Later, when she could no longer hide it, she told me everything. She and her father, along with the stepmother's family, had fought to a life or death point. I didn't want to see her die, but I also couldn't accept her betraying our feelings for the sake of a marriage alliance. She said the marriage was a temporary tactic. Currently, having just taken the position of family head, she still needed the support of the Brady family. And she promised me that once she was stable, she would immediately divorce Tom. But this wasn't the ending I wanted. I wanted to go back to Aspen. Upon hearing that, she went mad, using every means to force me to Stay in the villa. Later, I found an opportunity to escape, but I ran into Tom Brady and was outmaneuvered by him. After I was released from jail, Doc kept me under even stricter house arrest. Perhaps it was to protect me, or perhaps it was simply to control me. I was like a bird with broken wings, locked in a cage woven from golden threads. But I also knew that in those circumstances, she had no other choice, whether for her own sake or to avenge her late mother. I didn't force her to choose. I withdrew of my own accord. Now, the matters with the Brady family have indeed been settled, but I also know that after experiencing so much, my Doc was buried in my heart long ago. I stood up and got out of bed. After the nausea passed, I walked out the door. Doc was talking to the doctor with an agitated expression. She didn't notice me at all. Listening for a while, I curled the corners of my mouth, trying to force a smile. It turned out my bizarre symptoms weren't a concussion, but a brain tumor, and it was terminal, with only 1 month of time remaining. In the blink of an eye, she saw me standing by the door. Her terrifying, agitated voice stopped instantly. She walked over. Her expression, caught between laughter and tears, was incredibly strange. "Patrick, there is still a chance. Don't be afraid. I will hire the best team of experts for you. We'll use the best medicine." I shook my head slightly. A 10% probability, even if the surgery is successful. There are still so many issues. I don't want to live in such misery. I want to go back to Aspen. Alone. Her expression gradually stiffened. It was a long time before she opened her mouth, her face full of sorrow. "Patrick, do you not want me anymore? Is it because you blame me for not saving you at the foot of the mountain? Or do you blame me for not protecting you well enough? Letting him insult you?" The struggle in the capital was a battle of blades and shadows. I originally wanted everything to settle down before bringing you to the capital. But I knew they had already investigated all the way to Aspen. I had no choice but to take the risk and publicly bring you back here. After they found out, they intentionally leaked news to Tom, wanting to create a fight between the sparrow and the clam. Corporate marriages are mostly about each person looking out for themselves. I thought if I gave the Brady family enough benefits, he would accept you. We just needed to get through this period of time. But I didn't expect him to still move against you. But the more I prioritized protecting you, the further he would go. It was at a critical turning point then, and the Brady family was very important to me. I thought I could just arrange the aftermath, let Mama Kelsey lead the doctors, and rescue you in time, but this eventually still left a scar in your heart. I always thought that after processing everything, there would still be plenty of time to beg for your forgiveness. Because I knew once I truly married Tom, even if it was just a fake marriage, it would be hard for you to accept someone like me. So I didn't dare bring you home. I frantically shortened the timeline, working myself to death, only wanting to grasp power one day sooner. But how could I ever abandon you for that? It's all my fault, my fault. She crouched on the ground, repeatedly punching her own head, over and over again. At that moment, she cried like a child. I returned to Aspen. On the surface, I was alone, but I knew Dak Prescott had covered everything tightly, following me the entire way. She was afraid I was angry, so she didn't dare appear in front of me. I didn't know where she lived, but I could feel someone always watching me in secret. But my strength was depleted. I didn't want to continue tangling with her over these things anymore. I only wanted to look at this small town a few more times. Watch the sunrise and the sunset a few more times. I woke up as usual to watch the sunrise, but was stunned by what I found. On the embankment next to my house, tulips were planted everywhere. Beside the sea of flowers, I saw a familiar figure. Although she was far away, I could still feel her gaze, watching me intently. I sat on the rocking chair on the balcony, watching the rising dawn and the tulips, flashing one final smile. The language of tulips is love, happiness, and prosperity. For someone with nothing like me, the things they represent were exactly what I craved.